Hello, friend, and welcome back to CouchTales, Why We Do What We Do, the podcast where we dive into the psychology of what makes us tick. Today's episode is going to be one of those stories you won't want to miss. Ever wonder why some people just can't stand to see you succeed? Or why, even when you're thriving, some people will actively withhold support or act jealous of your success? So here's the situation. Kat recently gone through a divorce. She's come out the other side stronger than ever. She's financially independent, has built a solid career for herself, and is living life on her terms. She's glowing, she's thriving, and hey, she's even got a good relationship with her ex-husband. Yep, you heard that right. They are actually on good terms, co-parenting their kids like champs. Now, you think that people around her would be supportive, right? You go, girl, and all that jazz. But unfortunately, not everyone is on the Kat is awesome train. In fact, people from her past, people who were close to her while she was married, are now withholding their friendship. They're excluding her from social events. It's like they've hit the mute button on her life. And for what reason? Is it because she's thriving? Is it because she's too much of an optimist? And it doesn't stop there. Other friends, whether they're single, married, or in committed relationships, seem to have this weird jealousy brewing every time Kat shares her exciting endeavors. They can't help but throw shade. Sometimes it's subtle, like the side eye during a group chat, or a passive-aggressive comment when she mentions something new she's working on. And here's the real kicker. Kat is genuinely a loving, positive person who always tries to see the best in others. She wants everyone to win, yet despite her best intentions, it seems like some people would rather see her fail. So what's going on here? Why are people who were once close to Kat and others in her life responding like this? Is it just bad luck, or is there something deeper going on here? First off, let's talk about social comparison. This is the idea that we constantly compare ourselves to others in order to evaluate our own worth. And if we feel like someone is doing better than us, whether it's financially, socially, or in any other aspect of life, well, there can be a sense of threat. For example, when Kat is thriving, others who feel stuck in their own lives might see her success as a reminder of their own dissatisfaction. It's hard not to feel jealous when you're looking at someone else's life and thinking, why does she have it all together? Why isn't my life like that? It's a natural but sometimes toxic reaction. Now here's where things get tricky. Some people deal with this by withholding support. This isn't necessarily because they want to see someone fail on a deep personal level, but because they feel threatened by that success. They may even feel like there's only so much happiness to go around, and if someone else is doing well, it's somehow going to take away from their own chances. The classic zero-sum game mindset. So, what about Kat's ex-husband? Now, let's take a minute to talk about him. They get along, co-parent like pros, and have a healthy relationship. But here's the catch. When you go through a divorce, sometimes people expect you to choose sides. And when Kat's thriving, especially when she's thriving financially, some might wonder if it's because her ex is letting her or if she's benefiting from his resources. This can make some of the people around her uncomfortable. In an evolutionary sense, humans are wired to see pair bonding and shared resources as a source of security. So when Kat succeeds after her divorce, especially without relying on anyone else, it might challenge some people's expectation of what post-divorce life should look like. It's also like breaking a rule they didn't know existed. Some of her former friends may feel threatened by the idea that Kat is doing better than they expected, or perhaps even better than their own lives seem to be going. There's a primal urge to defend one's territory, and in this case, that can mean trying to cut down anyone who seems like they've gotten ahead. This is where jealousy really starts to take root. What's really going on in her friendships? Maybe they're stuck in their own unhappy marriages, or maybe they feel left behind because they've chosen a different path. When you're single and someone else is thriving, especially in a way that seems like independence or freedom, it can feel like competition. But here's the thing. This jealousy and competition isn't personal. It's psychological. It's about the internal struggles people face when they're not fully happy with their own situation. And as much as Kat is loving and optimistic, sometimes people can't help but feel threatened or uncomfortable when someone else's success reminds them of what they're missing. So what's the best move for Kat? The natural instinct is to share your success and joy with people you care about, right? To celebrate with them. But sometimes when you're in the middle of a big personal transformation, it might be smarter to keep some things to yourself, at least until you know people are ready to genuinely celebrate with you. That doesn't mean Kat should hide who she is or downplay her success, but by recognizing that jealousy and competition often stems from insecurities, she can navigate these relationships more carefully. Kat doesn't need to feel bad about her thriving, but she can choose when to share her wins and when to keep her victories to herself for a bit until she can sense that the support is there. And that's okay. It's about boundaries, knowing when to be open and when to protect your peace. So, why do we do what we do? Why does jealousy exist? As always, we can turn to psychologists for some answers. Some believe that much of our behavior is driven by unconscious desires, things we're not fully aware of. In this case, jealousy often comes from feelings of inferiority or a fear of being left behind. It's not just about the other person's success. It's about what that success makes us feel about ourselves. And from an evolutionary standpoint, jealousy can be linked to a very primal need for survival, the drive to be first, to have the best partner, the best resources, and ensure our genes thrive. At the end of the day, people's behavior is often more about them than about you. So when people around Kat react negatively to her success, it's often less about her and more about their own internal struggles. All right, that's it for today's episode of CouchTales, Why We Do What We Do. I'm your host, Anna Lea. And if you're out there feeling like people are trying to bring you down or hold you back, just remember, it's not about you. It's about their own insecurities. And while it's tough to deal with, you can choose to rise above it. One more thing. If you like this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. And remember, you can do it. You rock.